So yeah, there are times where I'm running in front of formation. I'd throw up real quick and keep running, and soldiers would come up like, hey, you want to give up? I'm like, nope, I got it. And like you would cramp up. Like running with the guidon was like the worst. But again, it was a pride that I'd never wanted to give it up. Anywhere I went, I saw near beer. I didn't run into any alcohol. Again, we were only at the Central Command for like a week before we went to Ras Laffan. And then when we were up there, we were like living in air assault tents. So like it wasn't a real nice base. It literally, from what I was told, it was an old landfill that they filled in. And then they set up the bunkers. They set up the sand berms for our launchers. And that was it. We went out, we put up our tents. We were sleeping on cots. Then someone sent in bunk beds. Then someone sent in a trailer that had latrines and a big tub for water. So during the day, the water would get hot. And then like early evening, you would take a shower real quick with that hot water, just using the gravity, We would have one hot meal a day in the beginning. We would eat MREs for like breakfast and lunch.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was pretty primitive to start.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of how, because was there a base already established there at that time?
Central Command, yeah, the Air Force Base.
Yeah.
Yeah. Al-Saleh? Was it called Al-Saleh, I believe? I forget the name of it. But yeah, that was pretty established. And it was wild too, because freaking Air Force, they had like an Olympic-sized pool. There's a Subway there. They had a Burger King. All the officers had the connexes with the air conditioners. Like it was pretty beefed up on
already.
Yeah. By the time we got there. Yeah.
You know, it's funny. Well, that's crazy, first off, that there were already connexes with air conditioners when you got there for the officers. When I got to Iraq in 2023, 20 years later, I had a connex with an air conditioner. Wow. Kind of like a connex. They called them chews.
Chews, okay.
Yeah, chews.
It was like a metal box.
It's like a metal box with air conditioners in it. Yeah, but I mean, I kind of expected that in 2023 because that's 20 years of buildup, But 2003, I would never have envisioned them having that.
Just on the main post. Not like I said, we were intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's also a lot of tents on a lot of those places too. But
not the nice tents, like the nice tents that had the AC. We were just the old school air assault tents, the ones that smelled like mildew, like the ones that we brought over.
Smelled like vomit.
Correct. Yeah. And piss.
Yeah, and piss. Yeah. I don't know why they always smelled like that when you open them up.
I have no idea.
There's like a normal smell for those.
I can smell it right now.
GP 500 tents or whatever they're called. Yeah. Did they sell alcohol in Qatar anywhere?
Yeah. Just know where I was.
Okay, so you weren't able to drink while you were there.
No, and I didn't go off post or anything. We were like
confined.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously we weren't allowed to drink because we were at war.
Yeah. I don't know. There's some people got away with it. Probably, I'm sure. I don't know how they would, but I'm sure somebody.
We didn't, and I stayed clean that whole time I was deployed.
Did you?
Yeah, I didn't mess around. Because I didn't know what would happen. I didn't want to be hungover if something went down.
Something crazy happened, yeah. That's probably better that way, honestly, in case like a missile got launched and you needed to fire one off.
Right.
How long were you there for in Qatar?
In Qatar, I think we were there like 2 or 3 months. And at this point, so when I first got to my duty station, I was a launcher dog, and we would prep the launchers, make sure they're up and running and stuff like that. Well, when we were still stateside before we deployed, we did something called a table 8, which is where we would emplace our launchers, get them ready to fire, do a mock fire thing, take them down. I was on the RSOP team. We would go to another location, set up again, do a fake fire. But we would do this in MOP 4. So it was like very difficult in White Sands, New Mexico, super hot.
MOP 4?
MOP 4, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Military orientated something posture. I forget what it.
Yeah.
There's so many acronyms.
Basically, a hazmat suit that traps all of the heat and moisture and
with the mask. Yeah. So we had just got a new commander to our unit, and I was on the RSOP team. So in order to get everyone in place, I had to run around like, you follow me down here, and we would get everyone set up, and then we would take a break, and then RSOP we would map the route to the next spot, and then we would have to do it again. Well, this new commander saw me running around like a knucklehead, and he was like, "Hey, First Sergeant, who's that?" And he was like, "Yurick." He's like, yeah, he's a go-getter. I want him to be my driver. And First Sergeant was like, Yurick, because he knew me, So after this whole thing was done, the commander called me into his office. He was like, hey, Yurick. He was like, you were really hustling out there. I was like, sir. I was like, when you're on RSOP, you have to do blah, blah, blah. He was like, I need that as a driver. I would like you to be my driver. And I was like, oh, no, thanks, sir. And he was
Oh,
like,
no, thanks, sir.
he was he was like, that was an order. And I was like,
that was an order.
So I had to switch because I had to leave my platoon of launcher dogs. Now I'm in headquarters. Now I'm the driver. Now I'm the guide on for our battery. Like it just changed my whole job basically, which I was not looking forward to.
Damn.
So now for runs, I'm up front holding the guide on and being prideful. You don't want to give that up. And I'm actively drinking at this time. So we would drink till 1 a.m., puke and rally, wake up early in the morning, go on run in the barracks. This is prior to being deployed. This is
gotcha. So he picked you to be his driver at Fort Bliss.
Yes. Yeah. Which I did not want to do.
Man. And he's like, that was an order, not asking you. Correct. Not asking.
Because he didn't know who he was talking to yet. He had literally just got there like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So like he didn't know the knucklehead that I was. So yeah, there are times where I'm running in front of formation. I'd throw up real quick and keep running, and soldiers would come up like, hey, you want to give up? I'm like, nope, I got it. And like you would cramp up. Like running with the guide on was like the worst. But again, it was a pride that I'd never wanted to give it up. So anyway, fast forward to when we're deployed. So when we were deployed, I wasn't with launcher platoon. I was with headquarters. So I was working in the command post. So I would listen to the talk. I could hear all the allied forces talking. And like, it was actually really cool and very entertaining because we would do 24 on, 24 off, 8-hour shifts. And like, just listening to everything that's happening was just like entertaining in itself. So like when a TCM or a BCM would start heating up, they could see the area of risk. So over the talk, we would hear like TCM, area of risk, Iraq, Kuwait, Qatar, blah, blah, blah. As soon as we heard Qatar, we would have to get on the horn, scud alert, scud alert, scud alert. Everyone would have to get to the bunkers. We had the old school landlines in the bunkers. They would have to report site accountability to me. I would have to report that to Central Command. So like if one of our missiles missed and we blew up, they knew who all was on site to report. Yeah, it was pretty wild. So
that's pretty high stress.
It really was. And it was a lot more action than being launcher over there. Because launcher, once the launchers are up, you're just making sure they work. Like you're just kind of on standby. Whereas in the command post, like every day you're reporting things, you're listening to things. Like it was actually pretty interesting. So I was happy while we were deployed that I was in the command post because I was in the know. I knew what was going on, stuff that I couldn't tell any other soldiers on site. Like it was pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I imagine it was a different experience, especially coming from stateside.
Correct.
Going out there, doing your actual job in an actual environment where people's lives are actually at risk.
Absolutely.
You know, but because I don't know a lot about Patriot missiles. A lot of other people probably don't. Patriot missiles, right?
Yeah.
So it's like
there's another acronym, Patriot, phase array tracking radar intercept on target.
I guess that makes sense that it actually meant something.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff out there like that. You've got the Iron Dome out there in Israel that we gave them all that stuff, I'm pretty sure. And there's probably a few other types, variants. I can't remember the names of them, but I know those are the two that I think of when I think of like air defense systems in the Middle East, just because obviously Israel gets rocketed all the time, or they've been historically getting rocketed all the time. All the military, U.S. military bases in the region have anti-air assets or air defense assets because there's always that inherent concern that something could happen, whether from drones or from, something else, ICBM, whatever, rockets, So that's a valuable MOS. Now, I don't know what the transferability is. I mean, I guess you could get out and go work for Raytheon or Lockheed Martin or something.
Yeah, or you could be a truck driver because we drove the Hemets. That's basically it. Yeah, there's not a big transition into the civilian world for that MOS.
Yeah. How long were you on Qatar for?
I think it was about 3 months. And then as Third ID was taking over on Baghdad, as they were getting closer, the air threat was kind of diminishing. So then it was really cool. I forget the name of the boat. It was like a something X1. And it was this like massive pontoon boat that looked very space age. And we drove our equipment on it. And then we rode that up the Gulf right outside to Kuwait City. And then we emplaced up there. And we were there for like probably 2 or 3 more months. And then Third ID took over Baghdad. And at that point, the air threat was kind of diminished. So then we sent our equipment home. We stayed in country for like another month or two, just pulling details and helping other units out. And then we came back. And that was in like November 03 ish, somewhere around there. Because I got out in December, and that was after getting stop loss. Because the day we emplaced in Kuwait City was supposed to be my ETS date, but they stop lost all 14 tangos because we were at war and obvious needs of the government. So I was stop lost, I think, for like 3 or 4 months or something. So, but I had college lined up, I had a job lined up. Like I thought I was getting out at this time.
Damn.
So, but no, because of the word, they're like stop loss, and I'm like, what's a stop loss? Like when they said it, I was like, what does that mean? And they're like, you're here until they tell you you're here. I was like, oh, okay.
Damn.
Yeah.
They said pretty much like just like you have an indefinite contract now, or
Correct. Yeah.
That's crazy.
And there's literally nothing you could do about it.
Is that only for active folks?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I've never heard about that for like
Reserves
but that is a good question. I don't know the answer to that. I'm not sure.
So we were at, we were in Qatar, and then you went to Kuwait from there, right?
Yeah.
After you realized the air threat
was diminishing.
Yep. How long were you in Kuwait for?
About 3 months. And then once we sent our equipment home, then another like month and a half just pulling details.
It was probably complicated sending all that equipment back.
It is, yeah. It was more complicated railroading it because we had to put it all like stateside before we deployed. We had to put it all on railroad cars, and then it went down to Corpus Christi, Texas, got on a boat there, and then came over on a boat. It was more complicated to put it on the rail stuff because here we just had to put it on a boat, which seemed kind of easier.
Yeah. And what base were you on? Arif John or something?
Arif John.
Yeah. Arif John? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's like where a lot of the big stuff is.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of built up.
We weren't on post. We were like a little outside of post. It was another weird name. I forget what it was. But it was a tent city, and we were right across from a makeshift airport because I remember these Chinooks like coming in and just sand being all over our tent constantly. Like, yeah.
Okay, so you weren't inside of Arif John proper. You were out like a small spot outside of the base.
Yeah, like a couple clicks out or something.
Okay. Yeah, I'd been over there once, but I mean, obviously since 2023, it's probably a lot different during that period of time. It's probably been built up a lot, I imagine. I mean, they had barracks there and stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow.
By the time I got out there, like full barracks buildings, air conditioners. Damn. Yeah. They had a movie theater on post. Like Arif John was like very, very built up in 2023. Wow. 20 years later, obviously. I mean, we've been there for a very long time doing a lot of things. Yeah. So you were, what month was that when you guys rotated out finally? Was it like, you got there in February, right? Mm-hmm. And then you're 6 months?
Approximately.
March, April, May, June, July. So you came back in like August or something?
It was August, September, something like that. And then I got out in December of that year.
Oh, of that same year. So that was your first deployment?
Yeah. And that was my initial enlistment too, and first deployment. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They tried to get me to re-enlist. They were like, if you re-enlist, we'll send you to Germany, which I kind of wanted to go to Germany and do that and have fun. But I thought like, number one, I knew I wanted to raise a family, and I could kind of see what happens with a lot of families for people that stay in a long amount of time.
Yeah.
A couple of things I saw with my leadership I wasn't too keen on. So I figured like I came back with my limbs and my sanity after a deployment. I figured me and Uncle Sam were squares. So I just got an honorable discharge and got out. And technically it was January of 2004.